Jim fucking Miller. Here we go. UFC 300. We've been talking about this forever, man.
Yeah.
To be here on Fight Week, just what does it feel like?
It's some of it's just a regular fight week so far, but it's another big card, right? I've since the Apex and COVID and all that stuff, I've only fought outside the Apex once, so it's awesome to be on another big card. So yeah, like having a bunch of fans in town and looking over at the T-Mobile and being like, okay, we're going to be in the, in a big arena, a big crowd. This sport was made to be done in front of, thousands of fans, and there's just a different energy as a fighter that I feel. There's positives to fighting, here, small place, in and out, but I do really miss the big crowds. So it's awesome to have another one of these.
And we've asked you about the records and all these things so many times, but you've always said that what means more to you than any of that is the respect of your peers. Mm-hmm. And to be on a card like this with all these fighters, I'm sure backstage it's crazy when you're just looking around seeing the faces. Are you feeling that respect from like others coming up to you and talking to you in those conversations?
Well, I haven't bumped into anybody really yet, since I've been here. I got in late last night. So, but yeah, like, I've... honestly, I feel like I've received nothing but respect from my peers, and that means a lot to me, because I come in here into fight week, I step into the octagon, trying to carry myself to a set of standards that I feel we all deserve, so it's not easy. It's not easy all the time, right? But I respect everybody that I've stepped across, the octagon from, because I know the things that they go through. This is not an easy life. It is not an easy lifestyle. It's not easy to do. A lot of sacrifices have to be made, I know that everybody else does the same thing that I do, and I think we're more peers than kind of gets made out to be, because everybody loves the drama, and the bickering, right? It sells. So you look at all, reality TV and all that stuff. That's what sells. But it's something special, to be here. It's something special to set your feet onto that canvas, I can't let go of that. So I try to show as much respect as I can to everybody that does it.
And just my last one. Any chance this is your last one? I mean, I know
Nope.
the storybook is perfect, but if you win this fight too, you're more highly ranked than you've been in years. So that's probably hard to consider walking away from.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing is how camps go, right? Fight night there's always challenges. You spend a couple days cutting weight. You go into an athletic event, against somebody who's trying to take your head off. Obviously, injuries can happen. But for me, the thing that's going to force me out, if it does, hopefully it doesn't, and I can fight until I want to leave, right? Is the ability to get through camp in shape and ready and healthy to perform on fight night, and I feel like I've got things dialed in. I've got a great team. I've got great coaches, and I'm using my head. So, I don't like making mistakes, and I know the secrets for me to get to the fight, and it's really kind of simple at this point. Just stay healthy and be in shape, not do anything stupid.
Follow up for JFM. This story of you 100, 200, 300 has been basically following you since the moment you left the cage at the UFC 200. Is there kind of a part of you that's almost sad to think, oh, this is like the culmination of that trilogy in a way, that this story will be over? We won't be asking you about it every single time we see you.
I mean, yes and no. It means I hit a goal that I put on myself, that, and it was challenging, right? Like I think I started mentioning fighting on this card in 2020, maybe 2019, something like that, right? And we're here, and and I'm performing. And when I first started talking about it, it was like, okay, maybe I'll drag myself to that card, right? Like, because that's kind of what I was doing for UFC 200. Like, I was having a really rough time in 2015 and early 2016, and it was like, man, like, let's get through 196, and I'm gonna tell Joe Silva and tell everybody that I want to fight on UFC 200, and we're gonna call it. So that was kind of the idea. Is like, hey, let's see if I could drag myself to 300. And where I was at when I first started talking about it was a different place than I am now. I feel like I've got like 4 parts to this career at this point. You know, like the pre-Lyme career, Lyme disease, and then like coming out of Lyme and trying to figure out how to make this shit work as a, being over 35 as a lightweight, which is essentially like the kiss of death. And now haven't figured it out, having the right people around me, and like it's cool to be here, and I'll be happy when there's questions that don't involve 300.
Jim, right here. Obviously, UFC 100, Mac Danzig, and then 200, Gomi. Now you're facing Bobby Green, and third time you've been matched up. He's been fighting fourth time.
Yeah.
Been fighting almost as long as you, just not in the UFC. So you also finally happy to get past this Bobby Green chapter of your life too.
What? Listen, I understand that stuff happens, right? Like this, like I said, this is a difficult thing that we do. When they first mentioned his name, I was like, is this a jinxed fight? Like, is this the Tony Khabib, right? So it's not fight day yet. So, unfortunately, we've had to deal with that in the past. But, listen, he's an awesome fighter. I've been watching him for years. I've had the opportunity to train for him 3 times prior to this. So yeah, it's like it's a guy that's been around for a while, a guy that I got a ton of respect for, and I'm excited to finally get to fight him.
So given that you've had multiple training camps for him specifically, has he evolved much, or is he pretty much like the same fighter from that first booking that you had?
I think he's definitely evolved. I think he's like 37 or something like that too. And age sucks. Getting old in this game is not easy, especially like as a lightweight, right? Being a 40-year-old lightweight is like being a 50-year-old heavyweight. So he's changed. I've changed as well, and honestly, the way that I approach this stuff now is I focus even less on my opponent. He does have an interesting style of boxing, great head movement, but he's still a man. He's still a fighter. If I hit him hard enough, he's going to go down. If I wrap my arms around his neck, he's going to go unconscious. So it's definitely a different fight than it could have been 10 years ago. We're both different fighters, and I know that I can't be the guy that I was 10 years ago. I've moved on from that. So it's a fun fight. It really is. I'm excited for it.
Jim, I see you repping the UFC 100 jacket.
Absolutely.
Up there. I'm sure you don't get a chance to bring that stuff out, but I imagine your collection of memorabilia has got to be pretty special. But is that the kind of thing that you would never, ever part with?
I don't know. This is the first time I've ever worn it. Like I pulled it out of the closet, and there's still a little dog hair on it. But like it's been sitting in the closet for 15 years. And I was like, you know what? This is the week to bring it out. And I'm sweating underneath this thing because it's hot as hell. And funny enough, the fighters are getting a UFC 300 jacket. But nobody else on the card has got this puppy, Like, it's got my name in it, too. Like,
and it still fits wonderfully, though.
Oh, it's an XL. It's huge. I'm swimming in it. I don't know why they gave me an extra large.
Jim, down here to your right. I know you said that retirement is not something that's on your mind, but given the historical nature of this event and how long you've been competing for, if you can, if you can think about it, what has been the highlight of your career?
That's a really tough one. I don't know. I don't know if there's one moment to really hang it on. You know, it's there have been those fights, those performances where it's like, yeah, you know, like obviously that first Joe Lozon fight was an amazing fight to be a part of, right? That's like, if I close my eyes, I can still hear the crowd in between rounds. Especially it's in between rounds because I get such bad like tunnel vision that like I don't really hear anything while we're fighting. And then, you know, some of the performances and they were awesome, and sharing, you know, being able to share events with getting my kids to come to a fight, which was not easy, you know, since I have 4. And I didn't want to bring the older ones before, you know, I brought the younger, especially at that time in my career where I didn't know how long I was going to be able to fight. So I wanted to make sure that if they all got to go to a fight, you know, like they all had to go together. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think it might be better. It might be better that way, that, you know, like I've had a lot of really cool moments. You know, and yeah, over the years it's tough to pick. So we'll go with that.
Hey, Jim, right here.
Yep.
Jim, if in a few years the UFC were to call and say, "Hey, what role would you like at a UFC 400 if you're not fighting?" Have you thought about what you would want?
Not yet. No. Yeah. You know, like I'm still sitting in the fun seat, you know, getting to do the cool stuff. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. I don't know. Maybe Ring Car Girl.
Let's go.
Thank you.